and I'd like to discuss a new type of medicine. It's made from a molecule called a constrained peptide. They're really durable like regular drugs.
Awesome. Welcome back, guys, to Vibe Trading, the show where I get on various traders and builders in the space. Today we have Jay, who is from BioProtocol. He's head of operations there. Today we're going to be speaking a bit about what Bio is and some of their upcoming launches. I think specifically Pept AI, which has been a pretty hot topic, I think, in the space of biohacking and peptides, and crypto guys trying to get exposure to that. So welcome, Jay. Thank you to the show. How are you doing?
Man, I'm good. Thanks for having me here. Big hi to all of your communities. Super happy to be here.
Let's jump right in. Maybe just a quick intro about yourself and what you're doing at Bio and what Bio does for people who aren't aware with what they're doing yet.
Yeah, happy to. I joined Bio, I think November of 2024 during the peak DeFi season. The core members of Bio. A lot of you guys might heard about decentralized science. Previously, I was deep into, I would say, a lot of Web3 experiences, and I've been working across multiple centralized exchanges, and I found decentralized science as the narrative, and I sort of find it very, very interesting. I've been through a lot of their, I'll say, small gathering and meetup during 2023, 2024. The energies is very, very good. It reminds me of, I joined and get to know Bitcoin maybe back in 2017, 2018. It reminds me a lot of the forefront and the same energy of trying to change different things, of how things are being done. I remember in 17, it was a lot of discussion around adoptions and of Bitcoins and its adoptions, the challenges to financial markets. I think that really resonated with me of ability for you to do something in the tech scenes that make bigger, I would say, changes, infrastructurally and decentralizations, and the power to the people, of course. I think fast forward now 2026, we do see, I think, institution adopting a lot of blockchain and as an infrastructure, a lot of banks slowly moving into crypto and Web3 spaces. I find DeFi to be standing in a very, at the same line of values that I sort of foresee it having. So the problem with scientific world in general is the access to funding. So let's say you're sitting on and you're a researcher, in potentially in your lifetime, you probably could deep dive into 3 to maybe 5 researches deeply. Like researching takes a lot of time, right? First of all, you need experiences, you need time, you need facility, you need equipment. And not just that, all of that things would also relies upon financing. And the whole system was really heavily challenges and then scrutinized because the fact that things in scientific world sort of move really, really slow. And also it moves in a way that favors the big shot, I would say, right? Like we do see a bigger trend, a bigger macro perspective coming down from COVID, the lockdown, how the government is forcing everyone to take a vaccination. If you don't have those vaccines, I think you remember the old days of not being able to fly, leaving your home, access to public transportation. It's just literally taking all the things away from you. So I think that creates a big, like, I would say like big value turns and value propositions, and leads to sort of like this birth of the small group of people who are trying to make differences in the scientific realms. Jumping forward a little bit is the decentralized science space. I found out about it, and then during 2024, end of the year, I think during Bangkok DevCons, I think CC and Vitalik highly vouched for it. We had a really good 3 to 4 months of very high mind shares. In in summary, what we're trying to change is how do we be a financial engineering layer to support scientific researchers that is groundbreaking for the people, to the people, and using the ideas of how tokenomics sort of like represent the fair shares of whatever you're owning. And in the beginning, it was launch with Bio Protocol. We launch our own launchpad. We do high fundraising for different multiple DAOs. So we have multiple DAOs inside our ecosystem that tackling specific types of niche of researchers. For example, Vita DAO with longevities, Athena DAO with women's health, Cerebrum DAO with brain health, long COVID, Qtopia with rare diseases. So it's like a multiple front of subcategories, and we do fundraise for them to pursue their researches. I think this is within the 2025. Now, I think the past 4 to 6 months, everyone has sort of seen this drastic change of AI acceleration. So the AI acceleration has been there for the past 6 to, I would say, 12 months within organization. We've been heavily and then launched 3 agents, Obrai, Microbiomes, and DigGPT. Those are LLMs, I would say. The product itself is like a chat interface, which allows you to talk to our intelligent system, and ideally is for researchers to use within their researching process. It's a lot more efficient. The model itself is a lot more efficient when it comes to using, let's say, ChatGPTs or Claude AI, and this efficiency is very, very highly favorable and used within the labs. So we launched BIOS. BIOS is our LLM interface that allows researchers to use to generate hypotheses and using into their day-to-day. Usually with the AI products, they would have a measurement, which is called Bixbench. These are the measurements of like the tests. Think of it as like a test of how good it is for the LLMs to be able to perform. It's a benchmark. And I think BIOS did a very, very well, highly outperformed a lot of large LLMs when it comes to scientific researching and hypothesis generation. So yeah, the BIOS was a birth that's around, I would say, towards the end of 2025. Now, during New Year, the background of how things are moving is that because the fact that the team has been living off Twitter, really. So I think the power of what Twitter really gives you is like the power of you being able to see the future coming a little bit, of how trends are moving. And you can sort of predict how things are going to go for the next 3 to 6 months. I think during New Year, the team, myself, have come across a article about how peptide could be a new thing in 2026. Back then, it was very sub-niche. No one was really talking about it. And this is in January, so it's probably 5 months ago. And started deep dive into Human podcasts, started gathering through all the information I could learn about peptides, and sort of think, okay, these product is actually pretty interesting because before deeping dive, I would say last year I have heard about GLP-1 before, and I was like, why do people want to take that? I'm not a big advocators when it comes to taking weight loss supplements through needle injection.
People just
Myself.
kind of
So
want the easy way out, I guess.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, what are the impacts of those? So yeah, after deeper dive a little bit into all the podcasts and start learning a little bit more, the use cases for peptides is actually fairly interesting. It's something that our body naturally produce, and it's a small amino acid chain. These small amino acid chains, think of it as like a Lego blocks. So you're able to sort of like customize it in a way. And this Lego box has a lot of probabilities, right? So when you think of it, the mathematical, how do I say this? The mathematical possibilities of how all the peptide could be synthesized are fairly large. I'm not sure the exact number of how many peptide could be synthesized, but think of it as like, let's say, ABC could be one type of peptide, and then CBA could be another one, and then BAC could be another one. So there are these combinations of amino acid chain that you could sort of link up, and the possibility for you to do that is endless. And each of it represent a piece of Lego that when you inject them, it tells the body what to do.
Yeah, so
Um,
then you need to simulate also what it does within the body and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, spot on. Yeah. So
I
so so,
actually,
so
a
it's
real
very
real quick,
mhm.
I just in case because it's
Yeah.
interesting. I think
Understand.
I actually had a chemistry master's degree as well, and in my master's project, I actually had to do some. I didn't. I no longer wanted to be in the lab because unfortunately, chemistry and science in general is pretty slow and pretty tedious, as I'm sure you've seen, right? So I started to do some computational chemistry stuff where basically I was like analyzing data and the way it interacted with sensors and stuff, and pretty much modeling all of it using machine learning to basically try
Mhm.
to identify like signals within a bunch of like background noise like that. That was what I did in my case. And so I think like it's pretty interesting that DeSci obviously had a bit of a boom, around a year ago, as you said, a year or two ago, and until now, I think there hasn't really been too many use cases that resonated very strongly with people in crypto, and especially at a time where something that you could argue is as trending and as potentially big and useful as peptides. And so I think it's pretty cool that combining what maybe a lot of people saw on, Solana with like these up and coming projects trying to more legit projects trying to use tokens as a way to fund themselves and also kind of bootstrap initial, I would say like user base and just like audience to help with the like general awareness around like a cause. And so I think what you guys are doing on that front is pretty interesting as well.
Hold on. And it's such a, I would say this project itself we've been building since around January. Um, and sitting off today, I think the peptide trends and the craze has slowly hit moving away from San Francisco to a little bit more broad, but I would not say it hit the mass yet. I think it's still very, very niche in a way. Maybe the tech bros are the one that have heard about it, or maybe
Hmm.
Gen Z, but it has not actually reached a 30 to a 50-year-old age group, maybe
Agreed.
in the
Yeah.
Pacific market. So a massive, massive opportunity. And those are the people that probably needed them the most because of the time itself. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, would love to hear how you think about this as well. I mean, coming from a chemist background, you would have a lot more scientific insights more than me. So our team is project manage of these projects, and then we have a AI person from a company, and then we pair ourselves with another like computionist. I'm the same word that you mentioned just now. I think
Computational.
that's the term that
Computational
computational. Yeah.
chemist and things like that. Yeah, I mean like
Yes.
let's like dive into like a couple like maybe hit off a couple things real quick, right? So Bio is obviously a launch pad where people can invest in early stages of various let's call it like biohacking, medical, etc. use cases. And so in this case, Pept AI, people can basically stake bio to get is it X bio or bio points?
Yeah. BioXP. Yep. Yep.
Bio
We can call
XP,
it
that's it.
points. Yep.
Yep. And that basically gives them eligibility to participate in the round, which in the case of Pept AI, I think was only a very small round of like 50K that filled within 1 minute or something like that. And then, you guys they're planning to launch soon. But I think probably a critique or a concern probably a lot of people have is, why do these guys need a token and like how does that incorporate with what they're doing? I mean, also I think a lot of people probably don't understand the maybe importance of doing this like computational approach to drug discovery. So maybe we could touch a bit on that as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So if you stake Bio, you'll be able to receive BioXP, and then you get the B Bio. The tokenomics, we have 5% up for the launchpad launches, and we do have another 20% of the tokenomics for a V Bio airdrops. So the total will be around 25%. The token use case of Peptide token is ability for you to be able to vote the next candidates. So how we design a token utilities is that we have the three candidates already. In this case, one is for fertility, KISS1R. Second one is ADHD, which is OX2R. And the third one is metabolic health, which is similar to GLP-1R. So these are the three, I would say, receptor agonists, three live programs that we already have planned for this project. However, the fourth thing and the fourth candidate, I think the token itself could be used for voting of what next candidate it should be. How it actually works in the very, I would say, brief term is that Peptides actually is a autonomous AI agent that design a peptide candidate, and then it runs them through a 8-gate computational validation stack. So the first gate is structure, second is conformer, pose, affinity, MD, protease development, and the immunogenicities. So these are the 8 gates, because I think maybe you can jam on this a bit too, Nico, is that like to be able to like discover peptides, it's actually the computational is one part as well, even though I think I would say that's the main part, but there's a lot of, I would say, factors that could goes into a complete synthesizable or makeabilities, and to do wet lab validation as well. So there's a lot of challenges that will be coming, but what actually is the most powerful thing, in my opinion, is that the data that we actually learn in the process is fairly interesting, and what pharma will be looking at, and big pharma is wanting what kind of data that they want, right? Because right now, I think data on peptide is such a gold. A lot of company who is actually has an access to audiences or to buyers has such a trouble of collecting those data or validate the quality of those data. So I think I want to sort of frame it as the data layer is such a gold stack of this as well. The data that we actually be able to collect and learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe there's even a future where you guys are able to sell this data in some way, and like, you know, maybe there's some revenue angle with the token there, or something like that. I think that's probably something people would be interested in seeing. I guess like in terms of like why it's important is because amino acids react in one way in your body, and based around certain side groups and chains that attach to it, you can, you know, allow it to basically be protected by not reacting through certain parts of your body, but maybe reacting in like a delayed fashion once it reaches a certain part of like the digestive system or the like blood flow system, however, whether you take it orally or injecting it, like these kinds of things. And so I think these are the kinds of things that you can simulate computationally more effective than you know, doing it in a test format where you're actually like testing on real people, which takes a lot of time and usually takes a lot of money to organize. In this case, you can simulate a lot more things more quickly, and probably at a cheaper rate as well.
Yeah, you're spot on. So like we did integrate an X402 payment system, that which allows these agents to be able to send the payments and automate the payment process. Which everything we're trying to build for this project is trying to prove all the use cases that we have in our stack, from blockchain and payment perspective down to like these agent perspective and also the biotech and data. So everything is kind of like these cocktails that we've been building for a long time coming into play. I think the infrastructure is a lot more ready. I think researchers are a lot more adopted and open for AIs now. So everything is sort of lined up very perfectly. And then this project really speak about, I would say, we're trying to make this project a statement of what it actually could be if we integrate things nicely. And we using this know-how of how we build this project to be able to scale into the next and the next and the next one. Of course, we'll try our best to like build this in a shorter period of time for the next project with a lot more use cases. I think the infrastructure is getting ready for it now with these partnership with AlphaFold, Bolt, Prodigy, and like Lightfall. All this across the world, where you can just send them data and then they do a wet lab validation for you, which is sick.
And so far, you guys, obviously there was a initial 50K cap on the Pept AI raise, and then it's currently sitting at around 750K, which would make it 15x oversubscribed. And so there's a preferential allocation going towards the bio stakers, and then I'm assuming that it kind of like retroactively will fill the other guys based on the allocation that's available. What is if there's anything you can share around, what does the launch looks like? Is it going to be, is it something you guys help with exchanges and stuff like early on, or is it purely going to be on chain to start?
I think it's purely going to be on chain on the start. However, if the volumes does pick up and the FOMO and the hype is actually there, we do have, I mean, Bio is currently traded on all exchanges. We do have the network to possibly make those happen. I think, and the question as always will get asked by the centralized exchanges, in which I used to work for centralized exchanges, would be the volume itself. So I think if the token does hit some certain market caps and trading volume on, let's say, the 7 days, that looks really, really attractive, definitely could be the play. The launch itself is running for 14 days. Currently it is ending in about 7 to 8 days, so 7 day 22 hours. I have the page up. We're about 15x oversubscribed, but usually how the market play with our launchpad is actually like the launch is 2 weeks. The beginning is very busy, and then it's sort of like, right, people trying to learn about it. I think the mind share is picking up, and the last 2 to 3 days, it will go on another mayhem. So I would definitely keep an eye out on the next 7 days. It would definitely exceeded $1 million raise. I'm pretty sure towards the end. There's a lot of interested parties. So I think the project does looks to be a good new standpoint of what Bio Protocol looks like for 2026, and I'm super excited about that. We also might have an interesting marketing event that you could live stream. Next month we're hosting DeSci Berlin, in which we'll have a 2 days event where you could live stream from anywhere around the world and then see what are truly going on in the DeSci space and what are some of the things that you could potentially spot a new trend, and getting in touch with us.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, and the thing is, like, I think in terms of like speaking about the future for bio as well, I think that something I've definitely noticed from speaking to a lot of builders on the launchpad side is that one of the most important things when building a launchpad is sourcing your projects that are actually going to launch on your launchpad, right? Finding like quality projects, convincing them to do it. Right now, I'm assuming like in the grand scheme of things, the awareness around DeSci and raising money through a launchpad like Bio and then launching a token is probably pretty small in the grand scheme of things. Like, I'd be interested to know if there's anything you want to share about how you guys are kind of doing deal flow on finding these new projects to launch on Bio and like spreading like or encouraging awareness around this kind of mechanism.
We do have that's a very good question. We do have a deal flow in place. I think what we're trying to do is currently in these 2 weeks, we are documenting the whole learning journey and the building experiences that the team is co-building ourselves, documented it. And in the I would say in the perfect world of how we imagine it would be a fully permissioned launches where people can like literally wipe code their projects out of their computer and then putting on top the bio agent stacks and then be able to launch with us very, very fast with almost no human intervention at all. However, it's also our job to quality control the gate a little bit. And at the same time, I think those are the brand of bio itself, right? I think if it's bio stem, it means that we have done our due diligence, right? I have worked with Binance before joining Bio. I've worked on the Binance listing team before. So I do know the process of the importance of the diligence process. And you can't just let, I would say, everything sort of runs in a way. But we're building a system that moving us very, very close to that as every day goes by.
Yeah, very cool. Are there any other kind of launches that are coming out soon post Pept AI that are maybe interesting you think people should pay attention to?
I would keep that in house right now, but however, if you're building right now any, I would say, biotech, AIs, CrossFit related, please go to bio.xyz and we have an apply via bio to launch with bio, or literally get in touch with me or our team. You could shoot a DMs into me, the founder Paul. We'll get in touch with you. We're looking for builders that looking to crack science.
And you guys obviously doing some stuff like on the agent side with it as well. Like I see pretty funnily you have like Dick GPT and things like that. Are these basically just like LLMs that are slightly like curated or designed to help you with specific things? Like in this case, it says Dick GPT is a bio agent that makes your dick stronger by assessing its age and
So it's
guiding.
actually being launched by DAO team. DAO team is a team of I forgot the exact word of the scientific term. I don't want to mess this up. I'm not sure that it's called neurologists, but I think it is called neurologists. So there are actually doctors based out of Thailand. He owns the clinics, and it's a group of doctors that helps I would say men fertilities. Um, so yeah, they're a very, very cool team. They're now actually having, so we have another arms of our company as well, which is called BioFi. BioFi is an e-commerce platform that helps sell all the product that all our DAO launches. So yeah, it allows you to get access into a cool biohacking products that is literally like what we're trying to aim at is like out of the lab experience, right? So like the newest thing that you wouldn't find, or newest chemical or compounds that you wouldn't find on your boots or Watson, you come to BioFi, you should be able to sort of receive them. Think I also have a libido, which is men's supplement pills coming out of it. We have, I would say, maybe about 8 to 10 SKU right now live on BioFi. And actually, if you purchase items on BioFi, you actually would get a BioXP as well. So those are one of the way that you could actually buy some products like a bio product on e-commerce and get BioXP and use that XP to participate in the peptide launches, and it gives you a really nice discount. Actually, yeah, that's one
Yeah,
of the
and you were talking about the e-commerce stuff. Like you were showing me some of the bio merch you got made. Maybe I can show my. I got given a bio T-shirt as well, which is pretty cool. I think it's got some cool stuff on
yeah.
the back. I'd be interested to know as well, like the DAO stuff you guys have going on. Like I see like Hair DAO, and it says it has a market cap of like 12 million. Like, what does that actually represent?
So HairDAO is a group of researchers that based out of US, tackling a lot on hair losses researches. Um, their team is pretty cracked. Like if you go into, I think I forgot the HairDAO website, official website, you'd be able to find a lot of cool products that they have done. One of the kick-ass product is called Follicle shampoo. We'll be able to bring it to you, Nico. If you're in Thailand next time, I have a few bottles myself at home, and you actually could actually use those. Yeah, they're super dope team, but they're curing hair losses because it's almost hair losses research are one of the most underfunded research. I think the number of hair loss researches is in about 10 or something odd millions. Like it's crazy low. Like the first time I heard about that, I was like, yeah, that's probably is the fact why we need some more hair loss researchers funding
And
money.
so
Yeah.
what's the place of the token, I guess, like within the DAO? What does that like market cap represent? Like why are people buying the token and stuff like that?
I'm actually not completely 100% sure about their token utilities, but usually you could actually use it as a governance token.
Oh, okay, I guess if it's DAO, it's like mainly governance related around like maybe what they develop next or something like that.
That's correct. And it's sort of is a share ownership, right? Like let's say if the data and researchers, like what we're trying to do in the medium term, of course, to be working with more traditional pharma company and be able to integrate in a ways with them. We have hosted a lot of big events, have a lot of good networks now. We've been building up a lot of how to say hospital networks and groups of trade pharma that has a lot of interested parties. I think each of the product that we launches are the showcase that will sort of ignite the conversation with them again and be like, here's how we're moving things. And I think every move that we do over the past 14 months has moved us a lot closer to that goal.
And I guess maybe last thing, like for especially a lot of the crypto guys who are probably listening to this podcast want to know with regards to like the bio tokens specifically, you know, do you guys like have any plans around, you know, driving value to it in some way, whether that be like some sort of revenue or anything like that?
Yeah, so the case of peptide launches, there's an interesting use case of bio. So we introduced bio staking, I would say maybe 8 to 9 months ago, and that have driven the price of I think maybe 6x of the price, along with the launches of Obri. So the staking allows the token to be locked up for a certain period of time, and it creates scarcities. Now, with that on top, with this launch with Peptide, we also would have instant BioXP. So let's say if you never actually staked Bio before and you want to get involved and participate, you can now just swap Bio token to BioXP, and all the tokens that is actually being locked up. We're at the same time right now jumping into meetings to try to find the best use case for the token. But just an FYI, there's a huge amount of bio token already being swapped right now. Just people FOMOing into Peptide right now. So the launches are now able to collect the bio token backs for the people who are actually trying to participate. And those token, we're thinking of a perfect use case for it as we speak. The team is still strategizing about that.
Yeah, so like one bio token right now is around 5-ish cents, which is equivalent. Well, it's 100 XP per dollar currently, is what it says.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the current rate.
So like, how does the amount of XP that I have correspond with the amount of participation I can get into a bio round?
So the amount of XP that you actually get would be depending on a few factors. So how oversubscribed, so how much bio XP is actually being spent. So let's say right now, if we look into the launch page, you can see that for this launch, Peptide has 520 million bio XP contributed already. So that is like a total count, and your bio XP that you hold are a representation of the percentage of the total XP committed to the launch. And that will be able to give you I would say, the allocations that you will actually get from the.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Any closing kind of thoughts or things you want to point people towards that we haven't maybe mentioned already?
I think keep an eye out on following Peptide and following maybe BioProtocol on Twitter. You should be able to get the latest insight of what we're doing, and maybe spend some time checking the launchpad page and check about the team. We have a white papers. Also check out the Peptide website as well, which is peptai.xyz. You'll be able to see how the agent performing right now as we speak, because it's running 24/7 as we speak. So it's actually cooking as we speak.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on and giving people a bit of backstory on all this kind of stuff and speaking about some of the details. It's been great to have you on.
Pleasure, Nico. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you, guys.